You are pretty sure that your roommate is a new villain terrorizing the city and you are conflicted. They cook extra food for you and your other roommates frequently, pay you their share of the bills on time, and even help to clean the apartment. They are the perfect roommate. Story 1. Peter, Lyle, and Sarah huddled on the couch, their eyes fixed on the screen of Sarah's phone. Playing on it was real-time footage of the city's most notorious supervillainess, Grey Shifter, robbing a bank. Clad in a skin-tight suit of smart superalloy, she was making short work of the security robots, drawing ever closer to the vault. I don't know, Peter said. I'm telling you guys, it's her, Sarah said, her eyes glowing with excitement. Look at the way she moves. That little tick of hers, look. She rewinded the video. Shifter formed a superalloy claw and slashed a robot in half, then shielded her face from the ensuing explosion. Before continuing on, she lifted a hand to her ear as if to brush back an imaginary strand of hair. Hi, Lyle said slowly. She does look like Alice, a little. I don't know, Peter repeated. Sarah rolled her eyes. Well, I do. Think back. Was she ever at home when Shifter was out doing supervillain stuff? And she's so tight-lipped about her work. She smiled gleefully. Like she has something to hide. Okay, so let's say she is Shifter, Peter said skeptically. What do we do then? That gave Sarah pause. What do you mean? She asked, lifting her eyes from the screen. She's a villain, Peter said slowly. We're, like, obligated to turn her into the police. The three of them exchanged looks. Sarah turned her attention back to her phone. Well, we don't know for sure, right? Peter didn't point out that she had been certain of it just moments ago. He understood. Alice was awesome. Quiet, meticulously tidy, and she cooked the best biryani he had ever tasted. On the screen, Shifter formed claws on each of her hands and bent forward to cut through the hardened steel of the vault door. Lyle leaned closer to watch. I'm not turning her in even if she is Shifter, he declared. Sarah snorted. You're just saying that 'cause she looks hot in that costume. I mean. Lyle glanced at Peter, who shrugged in agreement. Okay, yeah, she does, Sarah conceded, watching Shifter wriggle into the vault through the hole she just cut. But that's not the point. She's like, the nicest and tidiest person I know. Doesn't want to leave evidence, Peter speculated. DNA and such. Do we care why? Sarah countered. And she's never late with rent. She even covered for me a couple of times. Well, yeah. Lyle gestured at the screen, where Shifter was escaping with a superalloy sack of loot slung over her shoulder. She's not exactly short on cash. That she steals from banks, Peter said. Whatever she does, she's the best damn roommate we could ask for, Sarah said. What if we chase her out and get another Todd in her place? You guys remember Todd? The three of them shuddered. I try not to, Peter muttered. The screen switched to the bank's main hall. Shifter ran for the exit, only to skid to a halt when a muscular hero in a purple cape flew in to bar her way. The two faced off in silence for several seconds before the battle was joined. Yet. Sarah cheered as Shifter's claws tore through the hero's cape. Kick his ass. Wouldn't you normally cheer for the good guy? Peter said with amusement. You want her to be able to pay rent this month, don't you? Peter shrugged. Point. They watched Shifter wallop the hero with her sack of loot. As he staggered back, she tossed a globe at his feet, and smoke swallowed the entire screen. Once it cleared, there was no sign of the supervillainess. Sarah sighed. I wonder if she's in the market for a sidekick, she murmured, then laughed at the incredulous looks the other two sent her. Just kidding. The three were still watching the ensuing news coverage and arguing about Shifter's identity when they heard the front door open. They exchanged wide-eyed looks while Sarah swore and quickly hid her phone. A moment later, Alice walked into the living room with a slight limp. Hey, everyone, she said brightly, then frowned at them three sitting stiffly on the couch. What's up? Nothing, Sarah said, springing to her feet. How was work? Ugh, it was hell, Alice groaned. There was this particularly pesky customer that I couldn't get rid of for ages. I'll say, Peter muttered. Alice glanced at him with faint puzzlement. Sarah sent him a dirty look, and taking her by the shoulders, led her to the table. "You poor girl," she said. "Let's get you something to drink, and you can tell me all about it." Lyle suddenly leaned forward. "Look," he hissed, pointing at the back of Alice's head. Peter's eyes widened. Stuck in her tousled black hair was a long, thin strap of purple. He cleared his throat. Sarah glanced back and followed their gazes to the fragment of the cape. Leaning back, she quickly pulled it out. Lyle ran up to take it from her and tossed it into the trash. When Alice glanced back at him in surprise, he grinned and pulled her a chair. "Here," he said, "you must be tired." "Seriously, what's going on?" Alice asked, a little nervously. "You guys are acting strange. We just want to show you how much we appreciate you." Lyle grinned. "And we were kind of hoping you would cook for us tonight." "Is that all?" Alice said, laughing. "You should have just said so. I love cooking." Sarah flashed Lyle a thumbs up and drew Alice into a conversation to distract her. Peter sighed and slumped back on the couch. It appeared they would be harboring a supervillainess for the foreseeable future. Still better than rooming with Todd, to be fair. Story 2. I baked a peach cobbler for you. It's cooling off on the counter. Jessica wrestled into her jacket and sprinted towards the door. I used fresh, organic ingredients, so it should be low sugar. I know you worry about that. Sabrina, not the teenage witch, gazed at her. I don't want her to leave. It may be a coincidence, but she'd realized every time Jessica left the house, disaster followed her. 5 months ago, Jessica took an excursion to find peace and mental health. She found herself within a week, and an entire city in Australia lost their lives. 2 weeks ago, she vacationed in the tropics. Around that time, a historic tsunami washed several islands off the map. Hell, just yesterday she went grocery shopping, and the store owner has been missing ever since. Certainly not dead, right? Grocery store employees lose it and quit all the time. Sabrina reasoned with herself. Surely she was paranoid. Besides, Jessica was a damn good roommate. Better than Sabrina deserved. She had a tortured history with roomies. One prior roommate consistently left food cooking in the oven, and disappeared. 12 fires broke out within a 4-month span. The landlord evicted them both. Her last roommate skipped town on her mid-lease. She left Sabrina stranded with a mountain of debt, rent payments, and sky-high electricity bills that she racked up, by the way. At least she'd left her an apology note, and a half-eaten 6-pack of applesauce. Crying and curled up in the fetal position, broke, with an unnatural hatred for applesauce, was her lowest point in life. That's when Jessica entered it. The day she knocked on her door, Sabrina could hear the holy angels sing. She paid a full year's rent up front that very day in cold cash. She made every utilities payment on time, without a prompt from Sabrina. Exercised responsible cooking habits. Never punched a hole through a wall. Considerate when inviting men over. Properly disposed of her used tampons. Every opportunity Jessica received, she proved to be the golden standard of a roomie. Sabrina, who liked men, found herself on many an occasion perusing Kay's engagement ring selection at the thought of her. Jessica only possessed one rule. Don't pry into her business. A rule Sabrina came closer to testing with each passing day. Jess, why don't you hang out for a while? She pat the couch cushion next to her. This Netflix special is dry, but I'm sure we could squeeze some fun out of it. Wish I could. Busy. Busy? What could be more important, DHA? Oh. Jessica pulled a fat wad of money out of her pocket and slapped it on the kitchen counter next to the cobbler. I almost forgot to give you this month's electricity payment. Her fingers drummed the wad of money as she spoke, before she smiled and returned to the front door. Sabrina wasn't sure if that was a message, or a conveniently timed epiphany. A bill wasn't even due for this month, the money was for next month, and they didn't even know the damage yet. That's just how she was, always overpaying. She must know her payments cover the whole bill without Sabrina's contribution. Despite that, she never requested a refund. How is she getting all this money? She doesn't have a job. Sabrina wondered. She turned the TV from Netflix to the news and wandered to the counter. The cobbler sat between a wad of crisp $100 bills, a clean plate, and a knife and fork. She secured the money, cut out a slice of cobbler, and stood there, eyes glued to the TV. Tears almost swelled in her eyes as she wolfed down the marvelous dessert. So good, is this what organic tastes like? I hope she isn't what I think she is. 3 hours later, a breaking news report flashed on the TV. 278 dead in high-profile explosion. Among them was the CEO of a high-level crypto trading company. Sabrina wasn't sure if her stomach dropped, or the cobbler rose back up. Whether she slept restlessly that night or fainted, she wasn't sure. The next morning, she scavenged her closet for your favorite stuffed teddy bear. Her mother gifted him to her when she was 3 years old, and she cherished it to this day. It comforted her whenever she was lost as a child, which was a lot, and kept her company until her mother found her. At 17, she discovered her mother installed a Wi-Fi-enabled tracker in the bear. Through an app, she'd be able to find Sabrina if she ever got lost, or Lord forbid, kidnapped. You may not have been a witch, but you could still put on a hell of a disappearing act, she'd said. Today, she gifted that bear to Jessica, intercepting her as she left the house. A bit old for a bear, aren't I? Her amber eyes glistened. Is this your way of telling me I'm childish? They both laughed. Sabrina always admired how smooth and nonchalant Jessica's comebacks were. She toyed with the very concept of conversation, each word tailor-fit to suit her purpose. She's too good at conversation, in fact. She assured Jessica the bear represented no shade. She only desired to thank her for the cobbler and for the generous utility payments. After she left, Sabrina watched her from the window to ensure the bear went with her. Then she rushed to change clothes and sprinted to her car. She had to know. I have to know who she truly is. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more, YouTube thinks you might like these videos.